Hi, this is Jim, and as a way of explaining the audio of this situation, this Aircheck did not get the proper interface switch thrown for the recorder, and unfortunately the audio was from a nearby microphone as opposed to direct from our mixer. So unfortunately the audio is fairly well screwed, but we want to, try to do the best we can. So we've processed it a little bit, and we'll just have to suffer for this this week's QSO-VLOG net. Merry Christmas! Unfortunately, all is not well in digital recording land. Bye.
And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we will stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our QSO-VLOG network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, fullest sounding broadcast station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in our on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would be just a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the QSO-VLOG network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 1,440 QSO-VLOG Aircheck recordings. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why you need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 internet SDR receivers monitoring Rochester, New York, Milford, Pennsylvania, Arlington, Virginia, and Atlanta, Georgia, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in the selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of the selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. Also today, on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented dipole antenna. One leg of this dipole is broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today, we'll be running our input source indicator. So when we switch from an internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video. As we come together for another Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network, this on Christmas Day, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today, that all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations, QSA-5, to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States as we go through a very conflicting time in America's history with dark clouds all around. We pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. My name is Jim, and now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GCL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy? And as Charlie mentioned last week, he might not be aboard for today's broadcast. So, Charlie, wherever you are, sir, I hope you're having a most pleasant Christmas day. And we may not be here running this network very long ourselves if we don't get much response, but we shall see. This is KC9VKV QSO-VLOG net. If anyone has a radio they want to check out, give me a shout. India Bravo station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, please. Is that Whiskey for Lima, India, Papa? Roger, Roger. What's the name there? Okay, check your frequency. You might be slightly off frequency. Verify we're on 7188. .000. Okay, sounds still off. Check your clarifier. I'm not sure if that on the 7300 the clarifier is active and transmit, but check it to be sure your clarifier is off.
Okay, 74 LIP. Okay, I got the red shows 0, 0, so it should be on now.
Sounds like it's low. But anyway, what is the name there? Roger, Bob. Okay, give me about 10 seconds on your local antenna there, and let me hear your audio.
And we need to about 50 miles west of Washington, D.C. and 4 miles from Dulles Airport.
Roger, Roger, Bob. Still sounds low on frequency. It's unusual for 7300. I don't know if you might have some of your filters cranked in or what, but it's unusual for 7300 to be off frequency even slightly. Roger.
Yeah, Roger. I don't know what would do that. What I showed here is that's the receive. Let's see. Transmit delta is 0 according to this. There's 0.1. So the handle control looks like red for the transmitter, but that shows 0. My frequency shows 7188.08.
Okay, the 0.08, what you want to be is 7188.000.
Correct. Okay, so I was off on frequency. Very 00, doesn't have that?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got to watch those decimal points. You want to make them zeros, so even that .08 kicks you off frequency slightly, Roger?
Roger on that. You're right. We need to be so accurate here. I go west to 1,000 delta.
Roger, Bob. Well, there'd be no sweat for me to slip off frequency and copy you fine, but as a net, we want to stay on this frequency. So I appreciate you bringing your radio on frequency. And gosh, now that I can hear you very plainly, if I could get a little more signal strength, and I'm doing all I can here, I do not have any copy on any of the SDRs. The only copy I have is on my local antenna, and you're about maybe 3 dB over my local noise levels. And I'd like a little bit more heavier signal to do some setups, Roger.
Yeah, it's 34 LIP. Let me turn this thing a little more. You both sound great, and what if you just 50 over 9?
Roger, thank you, sir. This is a controlled net, Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net, and I'm working right now with Bob, W4LIP, and Bob, you wouldn't happen to have an amplifier hanging around anywhere, would you?
The 74 LIP, well, I did, but it's not configured here, and I can put the amplifier. I don't know if it's configured. This thing supposedly puts out 100 watts. It looks like the tire is 100%, but you never know about that. I'll have to hook the amplifier. That's going to take another day. I also have to put make sure I get the right cable and I can hear it well, right?
Roger, Bob. Well, let me see. Maybe we could work a little bit here. I would not be able to give you EQ because I don't have that good a copy, but there are some generic things that you could do on our setup there. And the first thing we start off with is the compressor engaged at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what it needs to be. So if you know where your compressor is there, put it on and adjust it for a 3, Roger.
Well, you want to try that? Okay, the compressor was on 2, but now it's on 3, so that's where it is.
Excellent, excellent. Now, go to your ALC with mic gain in hand, and you might want to speak a little bit faster there to keep that ALC meter up where you can see how to adjust it. And what you want to do is adjust that ALC meter for mid-scale to 2/3 operation by way of mic gain control.
Okay, so the ALC has a red zone at halfway, and then of course there's a rest of the meter. Never clear to me what part is that. 2/3 of the red zone, that's where it should be.
Yeah, if you run out of meter, we don't want to run out of meter. In other words, we want to go about 20% left over for headed for max. We're 20% below max, roughly. So we're saying mid-scale to 2/3 by way of your mic gain control as you speak naturally, but rather quickly into your mic.
Okay, so let me get that cranked down a little more. This looks like pretty hot mic things on that. So there's about, let's see, that's about, that's about 2/3 of the ALC scale.
Doesn't look quite full enough. What we're doing is going for a 3 dB dynamic range. Normal unprocessed modulation of the radios typically 10 dB dynamic range with an average of 30% modulation. So with our setup, we move that up to a 3 dB dynamic range with an average percentage modulation of 80 to 85%, which is a nice fat signal. But it does have 3 dB of dynamic range, which really helps the intelligibility, as opposed to being towards max out, which would just be no dynamic range, and it would be the audio becomes kind of like a blur, Roger.
Yeah, right. So, how's the audio? Can you see the audio on the scope there?
I'm listening to your audio, sir, and I'm looking at your audio on a view meter, and I can tell exactly what your dynamic range is, and doesn't seem to be quite that yet. What is your mic gain control level?
The gain level is only 12%.
What mic are you running?
Yeah, the mic is 12%.
What mic are you running?
Well, it's the front mic, the hand mic they gave you.
Take that up to about 25% at least. Maybe take it up to 30% and let me listen to you.
Yeah, it's WLP. Okay, there's up to 30%, and it looks like ALC is within the range.
Yes, sir. Now, I want you to work that mic to the side of your lips. Don't work directly into it. Take it to the side of your lips and talk across it.
Yeah, it's WLP. Okay, there's I'm talking across the microphone, and ALC looks like it's staying within the red zone.
Yes, sir. You're sounding a lot better there. Just remember working that mic. Put it to the corner of your mouth and work across it. Because if you bring it forwards, you're going to start catching mouth noises.
Yeah, very good. Well, I appreciate your help on this thing. My wife's just announced dinner here, something I have to leave, but thanks for your help.
Alrighty, now if you later on find out where your EQ is, you might want to give your top-end treble EQ +3 from wherever you are. +3 from wherever you are when you find your mic EQ.
Okay, that's the equalizer?
Yes, sir, equalizer, and your treble control, +3 from where it is.
Okay, I'll work for that. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, 73, sir. Merry Christmas, and thanks for checking in. If you get a chance, join us next Friday, and we'll see how you're doing there. So, 73 for now. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG. Merry Christmas Day. If anybody has a radio they want to check out, give me a shout. There's 3 stations. Loudest one, come back and try it again. Station calling, gosh, your audio is very mid-rangey. Try again, please, sir. Sierra India station, I think it is. You are tremendously mid-range. Let's see, do you know where your equalization is? I think you may have some equalization problems or mic problem. I don't know which yet. Do you know where your equalization is on that radio, sir? Yes, well, sorry, sir. The only thing I could possibly try to help you with is some kind of work the microphone to transcend the absence of an electronic EQ. I'll say come right up on that microphone, make it touch your lips, and speak to me and let me hear you. Yes, sir. I would get another microphone, sir. That thing is about 20 dB at 1 KC. It's a terrible EQ on that microphone. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you could probably do better with it, working a telephone mic in there than that. It's just, unbelievably mid-range and no bottom, no top. No, it's well. The problem is well past the battery, sir. It has a defective element. There must be a defective element in your microphone. That's a powered microphone, right? Do you want a 4-powered mic? Yes, sir. So you should have a good impedance match, being an electronic amplification. So you have a bad element in that D104. If you want to run the D104, you need a new element. I would suggest other mics would sound a whole lot better than a D104 to begin with. Yeah, I really have difficulty copying this. It's just all extremely mid-range, and I would say your average percent of peak modulation is somewhere around 5% because it's so peaked at 1 KC. Yes, sir. Try one more time. Let me get your call sign down, sir. Repeat your call slowly, phonetically. All right, I've got Kilo November. Is it 4? And what's the name there? One more time, sir. Repeat the name one more time, please. I'm hearing it sounds like crinkle. Try it again. Michael, is that a Roger? Roger, I must tell you, sir, speaking to you is like speaking in Braille. I'm guessing. Okay, Michael, I'm sorry for the bad news, sir, but it just sounds terrible. You got to find something there. Anything would probably be better. And let's see here. What is your location here? What is your location? Oh, Georgia, Roger. Well, gosh, hopefully you can find another microphone somewhere. Even a hand mic, if you happen to have a hand mic that would fit that radio. Do you have any other mics that would fit that radio? Right, and that 101E has no electronic utilization, Roger. The only other suggestion I might have is that you have an element that has been somehow damaged. And I know of a way that I have in the past been able to rectify that situation, but it'd be up to you. And it is that you actually kind of get right up in that element and just, put your lips over the element and go just as hard as you can to try to get that element back into shape. I doubt that's going to do any good, but that would be my only thought for you, sir. Merry Christmas, sir. You have a good day, and if you get a chance and you get that element replaced or the mic replaced, join us next Friday afternoon. We run 3:30 till 5, record all the time. And if you want to hear your audio, you can. Like I said, we are recording, so if you would go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date, 12/25/20, that will take you directly to this recording, and you'll be able to hear the era of that microphone. Roger, it'll take us a couple of days to get this posted up to YouTube. We usually do it before 48 hours, but we allow ourselves 48 hours to get it there, but it's usually sooner. So 73, sir, and you have a good day, and try to join us next Friday. This is KC9VKV, the Christmas Day QSO-VLOG net, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KC9VKV, do you copy? Kilowatt Ocean 4, Charlie Hotel.
Kilowatt Oscar 4, Charlie Hotel, is that a Roger?
Roger.
Yes, sir. What's the name there, sir?
Name here is Jerry, and we're in Waynesville, North Carolina, operating an ICOM 7100 that we just got a little bit ago here.
Roger that, sir. Well, yes, if you want to give me about 10 seconds on your antenna situation, I'll listen to your audio, Roger.
Roger. We're just running a G4. Roger. On the other, and we're running barefoot here. Go ahead.
All right. Looks like maybe we could do some good on your transmit setup if you would like. It starts with the compressor being engaged at a 3. Engage that compressor at a 3, Roger.
Yeah, I think I already have that on right now, but let me double check it. Let's see. Where is if I can find it? Like I said, the radio is pretty new to me, and I guess it's in the menu. Let me I guess it's in the menu. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Pretty straightforward. That's why I got it.
Okay, so your signal kind of dropped down there for quite a while during that last transmission, but went to Rochester SDR. It's somewhat better there. All right, so now that you've got your compressor engaged at a 3, I want you to go to your ALC with mic gain in hand and adjust your ALC for mid-scale to 2/3 where you're speaking fairly rapidly into your microphone so you can see where the reader's actually writing.
Your microphone so you can see where the reader's actually writing. Okay, ALC is almost to the end. It's 7 right now.
Okay, what I'm looking for is about 50%, a little over 50% of its capability. So I'm not sure what your numbers are. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm just looking for 50% of that ALC reading, Roger. So if you know what the max reading is on your ALC, go for 50, slightly over 50%. On your ALC, go for 50, slightly over 50%. Roger. Yeah, it's reading about 2/3 of the skills, right? Yes, sir, that's exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. So it should be a 3 dB dynamic range now. And so I want you to go now to your EQ. I'm assuming that radio does have electronic EQ, Roger?
I'm assuming that radio does have electronic EQ, Roger? Yeah, it's just so older icon. It's got the bass and treble.
Yes, sir, that's fine. You know, the whole thing is sometimes, well, the mid-range always wants to be flat. If you have a 3-band EQ, mid-range is always, you start flat on the mid-range because that 3-band EQ is, what it is the top balance to the mid-range and the bottom balance to the mid-range. So you want to keep the mid-range flat so you can strike balance easily between the top and the bottom. If you boost the mid-range, it's so much harder for the top and the bottom EQs to catch up, Roger.
So much harder for the top and the bottom EQs to catch up, Roger. Yeah, it's just has a bass and a treble. So you want me to make them both flat. By the way, you're doing microphone here. That's what you would normally use, I guess, on the radio. We're using a computer headset.
Yeah, Roger. I don't have that good a copy on you, but it does sound like what I would do. Tell me what your top and bottom EQs are now.
Tell me what your top and bottom EQs are now. Sorry, I'm moving before there also. Boy, you were coming in so strong, and now you're just way down the lead. It's Mother Nature for us. It looks like the band is going out on us, and I'd like to take up some other folks. Thank you for giving me a try. I really appreciate it, Brad.
But Jay, don't write us off yet, buddy. Mother Nature comes and goes, and she goes more than she comes. So hopefully we're back up. What I'm saying is, can you tell me what your EQs are, what your treble EQ is, and what your bass EQ is at the moment?
Treble EQ is, and what your bass EQ is at the moment. Yeah, I have to find the where it's at. I don't, like I say, I just bought the radio.
and I'm not sure which menu I need to go into to get to the EQ. But the EQ on this radio has only, I think I found it here. Okay, for transmit on single sideband, right now I have both the bass and the treble are both at number 5, which is all the way to the end.
All right, pull your bass back 3 clicks. Pull your bass back 3 clicks to +2 on the bottom end. +2 on the bass, and let me hear you.
2 on the bottom end, +2 on the bass, and let me hear you.
Okay, the bass is on at +2 and treble's on at +5.
Yeah, I would do it right like that for now. It's a little more articulated than what it was by pulling that bass back just a little bit. I'll tell you what, pull it back one more. Make that 2 more. Pull the bass back to flat, and let me hear you. Bass back to flat, and let me hear you.
And let me hear you. Bass back to flat, and let me hear you.
Okay. Clicking it back now. There we are at flat. There we are at flat. Just kilowatt Oscar 4, Charlie Hotel.
Yes, sir, Charlie Hotel. Now, I want you to go back to your ALC and readjust your level. Since you pulled that bass back that far, your level is going to be needing to be adjusted again. So again, go to your ALC with mic gain in hand and adjust for mid-scale to 2/3.
With mic gain in hand and adjust for mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, got it still showing. It's still showing about 2/3 on the ALC.
Sounding good, sounding good. We'll leave it there, sir. And again, if you would like to hear your setup procedure, if you want to go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV with today's date, 12/25/20, that will take you directly to this recording and give us a couple of days to get it uploaded.
Recording, and give us a couple of days to get it uploaded.
Okay, and what is your name?
Name here is Jim, Juliet, India, Mike, and this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. We're located on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Kentucky.
On the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, very good, Jim. Well, I appreciate you very much doing this. I've heard you in there a couple of different times, and have been wanting to get hold of you since I bought this icon. It's about 3 weeks old now. It's an early Christmas gift for me and to myself, and I'm still learning the radio. And I went to this headset, because I don't like hand mics. I don't like holding a mic, and it's a single earpiece, $25 computer headset that I bought off of Amazon. And I noticed that it works, and when I could monitor it myself, I thought it sounded fairly good. A little bit on the bassy side, but you probably help me if I take some of the bass out. Well, appreciate it very much, Jim. You're doing good work for amateur radio, and a very Merry Christmas to you. Thanks again. So, Oscar 4, Charlie Hotel.
Merry Christmas to you, Jerry, too. Just the only thing is, if you're monitoring yourself, keep the volume down lower than what you would think, because you don't want your headset leaking audio back into your mic. That's sometimes a problem if you monitor your earphone too loudly. It leaks back into your audio, and the leakage is never a good thing, Roger.
The leakage is never a good thing, Roger.
I tried to find myself on my YouTube, but I didn't go. And I've got a coax structure, so I can make sure that the issue is not hooked up to any antenna. And able to pick up the signal that way. And I thought it sounded pretty good, but I wanted to have you listen to it, and you've done that. And I think that probably improve my audio. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. 73, sir. Merry Christmas, and if you get a chance to join us next Friday, we run the net between 3:30 and 5 and record all the time. So this is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Christmas Day broadcast of the QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shot.
QSO-VLOG net, if you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shot.
Juliet to Echo Station, come back slowly, phonetically with call sign.
Juliet to Echo Station, come back slowly, phonetically with call sign. Yeah, KC9VKV, this is Kilowatt 4, Lima Juliet Echo, K4LJE, Jim in North Carolina.
Roger, Jim, how's it going, sir?
Roger, Jim, how's it going, sir? Oh, it's going just fine, Jim. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. And God bless all you folks up there in Louisville or Louisville. Anyway, we've had this rig right here in mothballs. This is a Fox Tango 920, FT 920, and we haven't had it on in a while. Just thought we'd see how this thing is doing. It's been set for about 8 or 9 months.
Oh, Roger, looking good there. Looking good. Does that radio have EQ?
Looking good. Does that radio have EQ? We got it flat. We got it flat in the rig. It's got 4 major equalization settings, and this one is the one they refer to as full response all the way across the board. It tapers down on different settings. Some favor the highs and some favor the lows, but this is supposed to be the flat, and we're running pretty much the same EQ on the board as we have before when you have to saddle the Drake and stuff like that, Roger.
Roger, I was catching something right at the end of some peaks. I'm not sure exactly what that was. Why don't you give me about 10 on the best thing you like about your radio? 10
on the best thing you like about your radio. 10 on the best thing I like about my radio? Oh, man. I love my radio. My radio means good to me. Yes, indeed. I more so like my antenna better than I do my radio. My antenna is the best thing that I own in this world as far as the radio gear, because it really does me a good job all the way across the board. I don't know. I may be overdriving something a little bit. Looks like the ALC. I'm going to back off on the ALC a little bit. That's a mic gain. I backed off on it just there. KC9VKV, K4LJE.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. The dynamic range was up there around 2 dB, and so when you pulled it back, it went to 3, and I didn't hear anything on the peaks towards the end of that last transmission, Roger.
Towards the end of that last transmission, Roger. Yeah, Roger, pretty good. Yeah, I hope you've had a good Christmas, and I hope Santa was good to you.
Well, it wasn't as good as it could have been. I don't have my 7300, Roger.
I don't have my 7300, Roger. Well, it sounds like you're running something different. Have you changed? You still running the 991?
990. Yeah, same thing. Same old, same old.
Yeah, same thing. Same old, same old. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. Maybe just this rig is a little bit better quality all the way across the board, I think. I know the receive audio is better, so I thought I'd just come in here and get a report about the transmit audio, Roger.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I don't see we could do much better. I know what that has like four selections of preconceived conditions.
Preconceived conditions. Yeah, preconceived conditions. Boy, that sounds real serious. Yes, indeed, it does. That's all it has. You can't. It has no parametrics at all. So I have to do that on the mixer over here, which kind of follows along with all the other rigs I have. But this one's got some digital stuff to it, and the receiver is pretty more advanced than the other rigs I have. So I do enjoy operating this thing. I'd have to go into the menu and try different settings, but that would change the whole ball game, because that would pretty much render the mixer, I won't say ineffective, but I'll say incorrect. I'd have to put it pretty much flat if I tried to use the rig there, Roger.
Oh yeah. Well, it's close enough, man. I wouldn't change that. That radio was designed by Glenn Close Enough. He also designed my coffee pot. and it is that there's no adjustments, except his adjustments. And I like a little flexibility, a little more flexibility, Roger.
I like a little flexibility, Roger. Yeah, and I do have that. I did pick me up. I'll tell you this real quick, and then I'll buzz out of here. And there's a lot of people probably want to come in here. I picked me up a little 891. I picked me up a Yaesu FT891, which is going to go into the truck. I got me a little 2005 used, and I needed me a rig to go in that one. So for my own Christmas present, kind of, I did pick me up 891, and when I get it in the truck, I'll park somewhere one of these afternoons and let you check that one out.
Roger. Now, I just went over to my local antenna, so when you check your recording out, you'll see that I was on Rochester for a while, and then right now I'm back on my local antenna, which has got a better frequency range, particularly on the bottom end than the SDRs. But I was just curious, do you have a little more top end on your mixer that you could throw in there?
Yeah, I can throw some top end in there. As a matter of fact, I must admit, I did pull that down a little bit when I was listening to myself, Roger.
Roger, I would say about 3 clicks more if you have it there.
Okay, well, right there, I went up to exactly where the marks are for my Drake. Right here is exactly what you'll find I used with the Drake that you were coaching me with the Drake TR7. So this is the exact same settings as the Drake TR7, now used on the 920 here, K4LJE.
Yes, sir, Jim. That's exactly where you want to be, buddy. It's just like walking through the door.
Well, dude, I appreciate that. Well, okay. All righty. Very, very, very good. And forgive the word dude there, Roger.
Well, better than some other words I could think of.
Yes, sir. All right. I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks, my friend. I really thank you a bunch. And I think this thing is a keeper. I once thought I would sell this thing, but this thing is almost a myth. It doesn't have hardly a mark on it at all. If I took a cloth or something to clean this thing up real good and polished it up, you can tell it from the new one, really. 73, Steve, thank you so much. Happy New Year. God bless and stay safe. KC9VKV. The VLOG, K4LJE. Bye now.
Roger, Jim. And if you check out our recording, you'll hear the difference there. It's just really nice. So, KC9VKV and today's date 12/25/20 on the YouTube search. So, Merry Christmas, Jim, and thanks for checking in, and if you get a chance to join us next Friday. This is the Christmas Day QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Station ending in Quebec. Come back slowly, phonetically with the call sign.
Certainly. The call is Kilo Tango 4 Victor, Quebec.
Yes, sir. And what's the name there?
Yeah, the name on this end is Keith, Kilo Echo India Tango Hotel.
Roger, Keith, and what's your location, sir?
I'm located in Waleska, Georgia, which is 50 miles or so to the north of Atlanta, Georgia.
Roger. Well, sounding really good on my local antenna here, about 12 over, Roger.
Great. Yeah, I've got a pretty good copy on you as well. It must be a pipeline between the two of us. Been listening to you set up several folks' radios, and just would appreciate if you'd listen to mine for a moment. It's an ICOM 7300, so I have a few settings.
Yes, sir. Well, let's see. Let's start our setup with the compressor engaged at a 3.
Okay, there's the compressor set at a 3.
Alrighty, then move to your ALC with mic gain in hand. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, adjust your mic gain to where your ALC reading is mid-scale to 2/3.
Well, that's not as easy as I thought it would be. I can't seem to find that. Bear with me one quick second. I think I know where it's at.
sounding pretty close as it stands, but I just want to verify.
Well, lots of luck on that one. I don't know where to find that on this radio. I've never had the opportunity to look for it, so I guess we'll have to skip that.
Roger, well, it sounds pretty good. Your dynamic range is about 3 dBs, and that's exactly where we want to be. Now, do you know where your EQ is?
I do, yes.
All right, go to your EQ and tell me what readings you have there.
Okay, on the transmit treble, it looks like it's setting on a 3.
Okay, and the bass?
And the bass is sitting at a 0.
What's your mic gain setting?
My gain is set at 45%.
Okay, bring that back to 35, and let me see what your dynamic range is.
Okay, I rolled the mic gain back to the 35% mark.
Okay, and take your treble EQ up to your max plus 5.
Okay, there's a plus 5 on the treble.
All righty, and then tell me in 10 seconds or so the best thing you like about your radio.
Well, the best thing I like about the radio is the compact size of it, and it's got every feature on it that I could ever want on a radio without having to buy extras and add-on pieces for at least the way I operate a radio.
All right, Roger. Okay, take your bass and roll it 1 click down, minus 1 click on the bass.
Okay, and there it is at minus 1 click.
Okay, I'm hearing the compressor up expanded when you key, and usually at a 3 compression level on a 7300, you don't have quite that attack time. Maybe it is that you might be hitting that your switch really hard on your mic. I'm not sure. Try being a little softer on that mic, and let's see what happens when you key in.
All right, let's see. I don't know that that helped any. So I pressed the lock button. Let me go back to this the non-lock button, see if that helps us.
All right, go ahead.
All right, there we are without pressing the lock button. I can go over the box if you'd like.
No. I just I was hearing the compressor in an expanded situation prior to your first word, and I was just curious. So you're sure your compressor is at a 3, Roger?
Yes, sir. The compressor is set at a 3.
All right, and so our EQ is treble is full up plus 5, and the bass is minus 1. Is that a Roger?
All right, the treble is set at plus 5, and the bass is set at a minus 1.
Yeah, so I would return that bass back to flat. So you're flat on the bottom and plus 5 on the top. Roger.
Okay, I set it back to flat on the bass, and the treble I did not change.
Right, we're still plus 5 there, Roger.
Yes, sir, that is correct. It is plus 5.
All right, it's sounding good, looking good, sir. I think we got it.
You are the man. I appreciate it very much. You got a great ear.
Okay, now you must work your microphone consistently at the same distance, because if you get closer to that mic, you will incur proximity effect where you have a bass buildup. If you get further back, you'll thin out. So you need to stay right there where you have been, Roger.
That's right. I'm measuring it right now. I'm about 1 hand width away from it at the moment.
Yeah, that looks good there. That looks good. You want to stay, consistently at that distance, Roger.
All right. Let's
I do appreciate it. Where do I send a check to?
Oh, gosh, only I wish. But thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. And you have a Merry Christmas, Roger.
You too. Thanks for what you're doing. I'm sure everyone appreciates it. Have a Merry Christmas. KC4VQ.
Roger, and if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date, 12/25/20, that will take you to this recording. And give us a couple of days to get it uploaded.
I appreciate it very, very much. Thanks, sir.
Roger. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Christmas Day QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shot. All right, station ending in Foxtrot. Come back slowly. Hang on just a minute here. Let me put myself together. Come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, sir.
Roger that. The call sign on this end is Kilo Charlie 8 Whiskey Zulu Foxtrot. The name on this end is Dave. Delta Victor Echo. I'm in South Central Michigan. Over.
Roger, Dave. And gosh, throwing pins at myself. What radio are you running today, sir?
This is an Icon 7300. Run into a G5 RV set up in an inverted V with the apex about 30 feet in the air. I tune it with a LDG Auto Pro 2 auto tuner. Over.
Roger. You realize, of course, now if you spend a little time and work and got that SWR down, you wouldn't need a tuner, and you'd probably pick up about 20% more power ERP.
Roger that. Yeah, I've tried the tuner in the radio, and it doesn't tune the G5 RV as well as this tuner does. Over.
Roger. Well, you know what that's saying. It's saying that your average SWR is above a 3. Most radios would tune a 3 SWR fairly easily. So if your radio is having trouble tuning it, it means your actual SWR is above a 3. And so with a 3, if you got that 3 down to a 0.05, you'd probably pick up about 20-25% more radiated power. Roger?
Roger that. And what's the suggestion for doing that? I mean, I've tried raising and lowering the antenna, doing other things. Over.
All right. Are you running a dipole?
Yeah, it's a G5RV, like I say, set up in an inverted V.
All right. The way I tune a dipole is I make my SWR adjustments on the ground side of the dipole, and I make my bring it back on the frequency on the high side. And I keep going back and forth, trying to get minimum SWR on the ground side of the dipole. And when I get to minimum SWR, then that will have shifted my frequency, and I go back to the high side and adjust the high side to bring the frequency back to where it should be. And I keep going back and forth, and pretty soon you're at 0.05.
Roger that. Okay, and what are you doing for the adjustments? Are you actually shortening the antenna, lengthening it? How are you doing that?
That's correct. But you don't ever cut anything. All you do is wrap the antenna back over itself. Never cut the line, because there's nothing worse than having to get a bolt to put those together. So you don't ever cut anything. You just lengthen it or tighten it and then bend it over itself. Roger?
Roger that. Yep. I've not tried that. Yeah, right now it's showing that I've got, with the tuner on, it's showing that I've got a little bit above a 1-to-1 SWR here.
Right, but that's only saying that it's matching your radio. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual efficiency of the antenna. The antenna efficiency is still probably a 3, and so that's what you want to do. So the way to do that is to put, you can use your antenna analyzer, or you can actually use your radio on low power, but probably better to use your analyzer, and keep going to minimum SWR on the ground side, and then bring it back to resonance on the high side, and back and forth like that.
So are you tuning it for every band? Because if I tune it for 40, then it's going to be different for 20 and 15 and 10 and so on, right?
Well, now that depends on how dedicated amateur radio operator you are. I'm talking about one antenna, one band, Roger. Past that, I guess you have to do what you want to do. But whatever band you operate on, normally, mostly, I would tune it, precisely to the mid band of the frequency range that you're going to be working in. Or unless you just work on the top end or the bottom end, wherever you run max normally. Is where I would make it adjust for minimum SWR, and then if you have to use an antenna tuner on the other bands, that's what I do. Or ideally now I have separate dipoles for whatever band I'm on. This particular dipole is specially designed with my two elements. One element is broadside to Montreal, Canada, and the other element is broadside to Miami, Florida. And that creates a hotspot through the Carolinas and 20 overs on either side, conditions obviously permitting.
Somehow I thought you were going to say that to me. Unfortunately, I am not in a situation where I can have several antennas set up. That's why I'm running a G5RV. They're simple. They're easy to put up. You can put them up in, obviously you know this, in several different configurations. The other thing I thought of doing was coming up with some kind of a vertical and playing with that engineer, just testing out how that would work. I've got a portable vertical that I use when I go out to different locations, and that seems to work fairly well on 20 and 40 over.
Roger. Well, ideally, maybe you could engage your vertical and your horizontal with an AB switch and find out what the normal characteristics of incoming signals are. If the majority is horizontal, then you're going to be okay there. But there's nothing worse than to be in the wrong phase department if you're vertical and it's coming in horizontal.
Yeah, roger that. I've actually thought of that as well. I can, as you know, the tuner will do two different antennas, and I've actually thought about doing that and trying to tune the G5RV for a set of bands, and then tune the vertical for a set of bands. I just haven't done it yet. Over.
Roger. Let's see. Let's maybe look at your radio there just for a minute. We'll follow real quickly and make sure we have a maximum set up with your compressor engaged at a 3, Roger?
My compressor is at a 3, correct.
All right. Now, I would suggest on the microphone that you pull it to the side of your mouth and talk across it. Do not talk straight into it. Talk across it. That will minimize any mouth noises.
Roger that. That's how my technique is with this mic, and I'm just using the handheld mic that came with the radio. Over.
Yes, so that's a great mic. And as soon as you pull it off and put a desk mic on there, you're going to have to start playing EQ catch-up because that microphone just does such a beautiful job. Now, do you know where your EQ is for that radio?
I do.
All righty, let's go to EQ and tell me what you got there for readings.
All right, stand by. Okay, on the transmit side, the bass is at -1, the treble is at +2.
All right, I would kick that treble on up maybe to a +4, about a +4, and I'm still hearing a little mouth noise, so you need to pull that mic just a little bit backwards, a little bit more towards the corner of your mouth.
All right, treble is at +2, and the mic is a little more towards the corner of my mouth. Over.
Okay, probably should have been a +3 on the top end, Roger.
It was at a +2 before. I thought you just wanted me to move it up 2 clicks.
So you were saying it was a +2. Is it a +4 now?
Yes, it's at a +4 now.
All right, and tell me the best thing you like about your radio.
The best thing I like about this radio is that there's actually several. Number one, it's compact, and I don't have a lot of room in my shack. Number two, I thought that it was very easy to pull it out of the box, turn it on, set it up, and work through the different functions. I thought it was user-friendly, I guess, to sum that up in one sentence. I thought that the radio was very user-friendly, and when I talk to people, I always get very good audio reports about the radio. Over.
Yes, sir. Now, what was your bass EQ setting?
My bass is set at -1.
Take it back to flat. Make it flat on the bass, Roger.
Roger, it is now at flat. Over.
All righty, I think you're looking good there, sir.
All right, I appreciate that.
So let me say Merry Christmas and 73. And what's your location again?
My location is Michigan, South Central Michigan, a little town called Diamonddale. Over.
Roger. Well, I'm copying you on my local antenna. You're about 15 over, so you're really sounding good. And if you want to hear your recording, you go to your YouTube and do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 12/25/20. Will take you directly to this recording. Give us a couple of days to get it uploaded.
Roger that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. This is a terrific net that you got going here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 73. This is KC9VKV, the Christmas Day QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KC9VKV, WA8 OPR.
OPR station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
WA8 OPR.
That A8, boy, that's tough. A8, WA8, OPR. Roger, Roger. What's the name there?
It's Terry. It's Terry. That's pretty much your first name. You have a tremendous signal here in Detroit, 59+20. And, well, there we are. Over.
Roger, Terry. Well, gosh, I'm having trouble keeping up with your volume. Mother Nature is kind of in and out a little bit today, but when you're in, boy, you're like 20 over, Roger.
Well, you are 20 over. You are. What is the name there? Over.
The name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike. And this is KC9VKV. We're just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville.
Oh, very good, Jim. Very, very good indeed. I'll keep it short. I know a lot of people want their signal/audio checked. We're running a ICON 7300 home group with amplifier, 500 watts, 170-foot inside wire, Jim. Back to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it. It sounds just perfect where it is, Roger.
Great. Appreciate it. Well, Merry Christmas there, Jim, and pleasure to meet you again. Over.
Yes, sir. And where did you say you were again?
Detroit, Farmington, Michigan. Farmington. Over.
Roger. Terry, and let me say Merry Christmas to you in 73, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday, Roger.
Yes, sir. All right. Good holiday. Hope to talk to you again, Jim. 73.
73. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Christmas Day QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey 4, Bravo, Tango, Whiskey.
Bravo, Tango, Whiskey. Come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Roger, Roger. It's Whiskey 4, Bravo, Tango, Whiskey. You got Joel, Juliet, Oscar, Echo, Lima, in Morganton, North Carolina. QSO?
Roger, Roger, Joel. I'm having to stretch out a pen that doesn't want to write, but I'm doing all right at the moment. If I just keep pushing hard enough, we'll make it through. What radio are you running, Joel?
Roger that. We're on a Yaesu at PDX 3000, running a all-center fit dipole up about 55 feet.
Roger. Now, are you running a tuner on that antenna?
Yes, we are. It's NSJ 993B auto tuner.
Roger. What do you figure your normal residual RF without the tuner? I mean, your SWR is without the tuner.
On this band, it's really about a 1.5 to 1, somewhere in there.
Yeah, Roger. Well, that's good. All right. Tell me the best thing you like about your radio. Let me listen to you.
Roger that. Well, I do a lot of contesting, so it's really good about pulling out the weak signal. I think the filter system in it, the digital filters, is getting rid of the noise, really pumps up the audio of the other stations there, right?
Roger, now you're running in the widest possible bandpass?
Yeah, well, I'm not all the way to 3K. I'm running 100 to 2900.
Yes, sir. That's where you need to be, 100 to 2900, and there's no reason, beneficial reason to run anything else. You can do the rest through, receive EQ if you have a problem, but you want to keep your transmit capabilities as broad as possible. You can also handle, the bottom end EQ of your transmit if you need to, but you need all of your top end, so you want to stay in that 100 to 2900 capability, Roger.
I tend to narrow it down a little bit in context, so I can penetrate a little better, for just normal rack doing and talking, so we keep it where it is, right?
Roger. Well, just remember now, when you get it to a narrower band than 100 to 2900, you start to roll off the top end, and the top end is actually just critical, particularly in the contesting, for to be able to have maximum enunciation of your audio, your words. That's what you want people to hear is your words, and articulation is up on the top end frequencies. And if you are running less than 100 to 2900, you're rolling off those frequencies. So you want to stay broadband. Now, if you want a sharper signal, you could always roll EQ off the bottom end, and leave that, that top end where it is. Or boost the bottom end if you want a little fuller. But you always, I think, want to run 100 to 2900. Keep your top end just as maximum as possible.
All right, with that, I really appreciate that tip. We'll try it next time and see how things go for us there.
Roger. Now, just as a curiosity, are you running your compressor at a 3?
Well, I don't know how. I've got the peak processor set at 50% or at 50. And my mic gauge running about 17. Sort of thing where it looks like it worked about the best on the ALC that kept it up at the upper end of the blue mark in the ALC.
Roger. Usually we're talking a 30% to 3, a third of its capabilities, but 50. I don't hear any distortion. I don't hear any suck-up. So you can run it that way. Just be sure on your AOC that you're up there mid-scale to 2/3 max reading on your AOC. That's where you're going to the second part of getting to that 3 dB dynamic range, which is really what you need, Roger.
Roger that. And I assume that's always a question I've had on the meter on the 3000. There's a light blue section of the ALC. I assume the very top end of that is where you want to try to stay in, or just barely to the edge. Is that correct?
You want to run your ALC 20% less than max. After it's all said and done and the peaks don't rise, you want to be 20% from the max out on your ALC.
Roger that. Well, that's about where it runs. It might peak just a little bit, but normal voice is about 20% from the end of the scale.
Roger. Now you know that you're probably rolling out at about 400 cycles on your EQ, mic EQ, which gets you, nice and bright, but you might be a little thin. So you could pull a little more in the bottom end and still, roll off, say, at 300 cycles, but have a fuller signal. Because if you get everything at the top, just imagine that you were just boosting from 1K to 3K, and you were rolling off at 1K. You'd be very thin. You'd be very bright, but you would be thin. So when you get into QRM situation or heavy traffic situation, you might not have the body to cut through. So my thing is to keep it activity down to 300 cycles and then roll. So you're still bright, but you have a little body to go with the top end.
Roger that. Okay. Well, and as far as far as the audience, everything seemed okay to you?
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm just saying that you're rolling out like about 400 cycles. If it were me, I would put just what kind of EQ do you have on our radio? So it's a 3-band or what?
Yeah, 3-band, and actually got the low frequency 200 hertz, and I'm running a -6.
Yeah. Let's see. Is your mid-range flat? You want your mid-range flat on the 3-band?
The mid-range is actually running a -6 as well.
Yeah, pull that mid-range. What you want to do is pull that on a 3-band. You always want to keep your mid-range flat because the 3-band is designed to balance the top end to the mid-range and the bottom end to the mid-range. And if you push the mid-range, it's harder to catch up. If you pull it back, then you're going to have a hole in your audio. So normally you would want to keep that mid-range flat and then adjust your top end for balance and your bottom end for balance. Now, if you were to be more contesting, you would not want that maybe heavy bottom end, but you would want your mid-range flat. Roger?
Okay, we pulled the mid-range up to 0, and we'll talk here just a minute to see if that's done anything for us there, right?
Yes, sir. Now I would pull that, what's your bottom end bass reading?
It's on a -6.
I'd pull it up to a -3.
Okay, the bottom end is up to a -3 now, and let's see how that sounds.
Okay, what's your top end?
Top end is a +6.
Out of 10?
That is correct. 6 out of 10.
Okay, move that up to 8. Let me hear you.
Okay, the top end turns up to 8, and we'll see how that sounds right there for you.
All right, I would pull the bottom end up 2 more clicks. Where does that put you in the bottom end?
Since the bottom end to a -1. -1, we're flat on the middle, and +8 on the high.
All righty, and tell me about the second best thing you like about your radio.
I would say a very simple touch the radio. I run a pan adapter, so I search and pounce chasing things, and just everything about the whole station, maybe not necessarily the radio, but the whole station as a whole makes it very friendly for me.
Yes, sir. Now, I would go back to my ALC since we have made some major EQ adjustments there. I would go back to my ALC and then double check for a mid-scale to 2/3 operation.
Okay. It actually looks like it's swinging. I see more swing now in it than what it did. Wow. It's still running about 80 to 85% of the scale, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Sounding good. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 12/25/20, that will take you directly to this recording. Roger?
Roger that. Well, I appreciate it, Jim. I know there's many probably trying to get to you, and I appreciate you taking time to work with us and try to dial this thing in a little better than we had. We wish you a Merry Christmas and 73's out your way, and most of all, stay safe out there, my friend.
Roger, sir. And like I said, when we brought that 1KC up, I think you're fuller through the mid-range. You have a nice bright top end, and you might kick a little more on the bottom, but it's fine where it is. It just depends on, what you think. And I'm on my local antenna, my local radio, which is a lot fuller on the bottom end than the SDRs. SDR receivers tend to roll off 300 cycles, so this radio on my local antenna is good to 100 cycles, so it's fairly accurate, Roger.
Roger that. Definitely appreciate it, and you helped out a lot there.
Yes, sir. Okay, 73, Joel, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, Merry Christmas, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday. This is KC9VKV, Friday afternoon, Christmas Day QSO-VLOG. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. About 4 stations, all very, very low. Let me run through the SDRs. You guys try it again, see if I can find somebody.
See if I can find somebody. Draco 3, Papa, Charlie, Papa, Papa, Charlie, Papa.
Papa, Charlie, Papa. Roger, Roger. This is Jim, and I've got you on Milford 20 over, Roger.
You on Milford 20 over, Roger. very good, Jim. And very good afternoon and Merry Christmas to you. It's Rob up here in Tiverton, Ontario. I'm at home today, of course. And today I am trying another radio. I picked up a used Yaesu FT890 and wanted to get Dr. VKV's input on how the audio is sounding. I have done a little bit of testing and playing and listening throughout the day today, so I wanted to get your input on my KC9VKV, the 3PCP.
Roger, Rob, it's very upper mids, almost all upper mids. Let's, I would say, visit your EQ and what kind of EQ do you have on that radio?
What kind of EQ do you have on that radio?
Yeah, there's no EQ on this radio, just I'm running a compressor at 3, and I've got the nice gain set to give me decent deflection and on the meter. And there's 2 different tone settings on this mic. This is setting number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure which one is better, the 3PCP.
Roger, the last one you were using sounded like it might have been a little broader. Not much, though. It still sounds pretty much upper mids. Roger?
Roger.
Yeah, Rob, I don't know if you got a copy, sir. My muffler just stopped ringing. I'm going to come back up. Come on, everybody. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right, Rob, come back to me.
Okay, so one more little adjustment. There's another adjustment I could make. Hang on, turn my processor back on. I made one other little adjustment, and I think that gives me a little bit more bottom end. This is on mic setting number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is on mic setting number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. B3PCP.
Okay, the last one you were using sounded better. It did not have quite the gain that the other setting had, but the last one you had sounded like it might have been a little broader frequency response-wise, Roger?
Broader frequency response-wise, Roger.
Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, that was kind of what I listened to most today. And I'm not sure what the 2 different settings on the microphone do exactly, but I know they do make a difference on the on how the microphone sounds. I thought number 2 was going to be the better one. I'm just using the stock hand mic here, and my compressor set at 3, and miking is actually set about 3 as well, and getting decent deflection on the meter, so that was probably as good.
Roger, Rob. Sounded like it might have been a little hot into your ALC. You might check that.
Into your ALC, you might check that.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I backed it down. Is that better?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You were probably about a dB and a half dynamic range, so you were pushing a little too hard, wasn't you?
Pushing a little too hard, Roger.
Okay, very good, guys. Like I said, I brought it down about to about 2.5 there, and unfortunately, it's a used, like I said, it's a used rig, and I'm not getting any meter reading on ALC for whatever reason, so I'm going to stick with power with meter deflection. So, and anyway, so that's
Roger. Now we could check out. Have you not had that ALC meter running at all before today, or what?
Before today, or what?
No, like I said, I bought the radio used, and there was some issues that they got fixed, and I think this is one that they might have missed. So I can look at ALC on the meter, but it's not getting any deflection. So there's something internally that's not giving me I'm not sure. But anyway, sounding okay, and we're out. I bought it for my son, and I just wanted to try and do some stuff ahead of time, make sure everything's good.
Roger that. And you know, the other way to tune without the ALC is to advance your mic gain up and up and up, and looking at your power out. And then when you realize that your power out's not getting greater, then you back off your mic gain about 10%, and you should be right there.
Yeah, sure. So that's pretty much what it is. So with the compressor on, getting good needle bounce up to, it's probably deflecting up, mid-scale to 2/3 on the power meter reading. So I know it's not ALC, but anyway, I'm about 4 inches back from the mic as well. 3 PCP.
Roger. I might pull that mic down just a tad more. Back off mic gain just a tad more.
Okay, very good. Back it down a little bit better. Is there more? Just lower than 3 PCP.
Yeah, I think that's better. Now, you know, if it wasn't so mid-rangey, then you would probably have a fuller sound. But because your mid-range is probably about 3 or 4 dB above the average frequency response in that area, then you have a peak that is spooking your power out. Instead of it being a full range of frequencies, it's just that one frequency. And that's one of the importance of a fairly linear audio frequency response from your microphone, so you don't have a peak that's keeping your average percent of peak modulation down.
Another I have shift function you can adjust so it was set at +3, and I backed it down to +2 now, so I'm not sure what difference that might be 3 PCP.
Well, you still have good dynamic range, so you're still fairly warm into your ALC, even if you can't see your ALC meter working, Roger.
Is the tone any different now that it changed that shift?
Yeah, it's not quite as peaky, but it's still upper mids, which is, for intelligibility, there's no compromise. You can understand it fairly well. It's just that, theoretically, you could be a little broader in your frequency response. I would say if you have a different mic, you might try a different mic, Roger.
Roger. Notice that one mic got for this rig, unfortunately. So hoping it sounds okay there. We're back just with the audio shift again. And not getting much feedback now on the 3 PCP.
Yeah, did you just do something? You sound extremely mid-range in that last transmission. Yeah, that's better. I'm starting to lose you just a little bit, but that certainly was a little broader frequency response than the time before, Roger. Okay, went back to mid-ranging. Is that a desk mic? It could be that you have some contact issues. You might not be getting full contact there, and that might be causing your frequency discrimination possibilities. I always used WD-40 on the contacts. I know a lot of people laugh, but I've been running a mixer using a WD-40 on the pots for 40 years, and about every 3 years I WD-40 my pots. I've drilled my pots, and I can spray in them WD-40, and I get 3 years, and those are 40-year-old controls. So WD-40 does work. I would maybe use it just a little bit on those contacts of the microphone and see if you get a little more consistency, Roger. That's the only thing I can think of that could possibly be adding to your frequency response problems. Frequency is in use, sir. Frequency is in use.
Frequency is in use, sir. Frequency is in use.
Roger, Rob, 73 up that way, sir. Last I heard you were very, very thin, mid-range. So work on that mic. I think it might be the mic. You might think of an alternative. If you have an alternative microphone, might try it on the radio and see how it does. But anyway, 73 up that way, Rob, and you have a great Christmas, Merry Christmas, and if you get a chance to join us next Friday, we'd love to have you. This is KC9VKV, the Christmas Day, Friday afternoon, QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Yeah, if you want to check out, give me a shout.
Gosh, somebody just a second ago tried again.
Yeah, just Kilo Delta 2, Bravo, Echo, November. I just turned the rig on here. I don't want to disturb you. It's getting an echo or not.
Bravo, Echo, November. Come back with the complete call sign slowly phonetically, please.
Kilo Delta 2, Bravo, Echo, November. The name is Richard, QTH, New Jersey. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. New Jersey. And what was the name again?
Name is Richard. Richard.
Roger, Richard. Okay, let me keep up with I've got this pen that wants to not write, and I'm having to push real hard and write gain at the same time. All right, Richard, what radio do you have, sir?
We're running a ICAP 9100. A long time, and then we got an ALS 600 amplifier with an inverted feed, about 22 feet, 23 feet up here. So that's what we're doing. Works pretty good.
Roger, that's a 9100? All right, why don't you give me 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path.
Okay, you're about 20 over right now. I don't get much. Yeah, but an inverted feed here, about 24 feet up here. And that's about it for 40 feet up here. And I got this vertical here for 20 feet. It's about 18 feet. So outside the condo here, so it works very well. But yeah, we're pumping out about 500-600 watts right now here, over.
Roger, yeah, I normally have like about a 12 over on you, but you are sometimes sliding down. Mother Nature pulls it down a little bit and then back up. So last we left you were 12 over. So gosh, want to maybe check out your setup and see what we can do. We start with our compressor engaged at a 3. It's a token amount. You'll never hear it on the air, but it does the beginning of our process. Roger?
Yeah, well, while you're on your radio, you can, fill up with everything sounds really good on your radio like that.
Roger, I'm talking about your radio. If you would like to go through our setup procedure, we can take a 10 dB dynamic range, 30% average peak modulation transmitter up to a 3 dB dynamic range, 80 to 85% average peak modulation on our setup.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I don't mess around too much with it. I had it for years. I thought it was pretty well. I don't think it's right.
Well, gosh, what can I say? I'm about run out of time anyway. It looks like it's about 5 o'clock, so I appreciate your shout, sir. If you want to hear your radio, we are recording, and we'll go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 12/25/20, and that will take you to this recording, Roger. Roger, Richard, I think you have about faded out at this point. So let me say 73 up that way. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. Merry Christmas. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We record from 3:30 to 5, then post it up on YouTube. So we're going to jump out of here. We have enjoyed it. And Merry Christmas to all. And thanks everybody for participating. Again, if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV followed by today's date, that will take you directly to this recording and give us a couple of days to get it uploaded. So with that, we will be returning this frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, will be clear.
What did you tear up last week, Jim?
Hey, who is that?
This is KC9VKV, Jim in Missouri.
Roger. Yeah, well, I tell you, Jim, what happened was my bat handle broke on my PTT switch. I was dead in the water. I couldn't say goodbye, hello, nothing. Roger?
Yeah, I was worried about you. I was hoping that was all that happened, but I was glad to hear you on this week. I just wondered what you tore up. I figured it could have been something like that.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, man. I couldn't do anything. I even tried my pen down in the hole of the PTT switch, and hopefully I could, try to get it that way, but I couldn't get nothing. I was dead, Roger.
Yeah, I can tell. I stood around and there was somebody else trying to keep the frequency open for you, but I finally gave up on you, so I don't hear you telling back today. Anyways, Merry Christmas, and I'm glad to hear that was all it was. Good New Year's, and talk to you later. Stay easy or DTV.
That KE0, what was at the end of it?
D, Delta, Golf, Bravo.
And Jim, where are you, sir? Missouri, Roger. And what radio are you running today?
7300. 100 watts right now.
Yes, sir, Jim. Thank you so much for checking in, buddy. Appreciate that. And you have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I will say 373 to you, sir. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday, Roger.
I'm always listening, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 73. This is KC9VKV, QSO-VLOG net. We are returning the frequency back to amateur radio use, normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV. Clear.